Hello, I'm Michael Marino, and this is the Introduction to the Uniform Bar Examination Retaker course by Marino. As you're probably well aware, many states have switched to the UBE, the Uniform Bar Exam, and we anticipate that each year more and more states will choose to administer the UBE over their own individual bar exam. Each UBE state administers the same UBE exam. Thus, your UBE score is transferable to other UBE jurisdictions, though each state does set its own passing score, and many states have their own jurisdictional specific requirements in addition to passing the UBE. So please make sure before you begin our course that you familiarize yourself with your own state's requirements. And if you need help finding those requirements or you have any questions about it, please do not hesitate to contact our office. However, before we get started, I want to remind you that every Marino Retaker course does come with tutoring. So if you've not yet been assigned a tutor or have any questions about the tutoring, please do not hesitate again to contact our office or even reach out directly to Emily Marino, who's in charge of our tutoring program. All right, so let's get into it. But before we get into the details, I do want to let you know that as a retaker, congratulations, you are in the right place. Our course and our methods have been proven to work for students who previously failed the exam, and you will see, if you stick with our program, a dramatic increase in your score. However, if you've taken a bar course before, you're probably well aware of how most courses set their schedule, how they work sequentially through the law. And you may have gotten overwhelmed at points and freelanced, meaning you went out on your own when you reached that point where the course was moving faster than your ability to study. What we've done here is we are not a review course. You may have taken a bar review course before, and what you do in a bar review course is review the law. But we're not here to review the law with you. We're not here to teach you to become a constitutional scholar. We're not here to train you to become a Supreme Court justice. We're here for one reason, and you're here for one reason, to pass the bar exam. Thus, we're going to teach you many methods, such as our substantive analytical exercise, which we refer to as the SAE, which is a slow, methodical exercise designed to increase your score. That's just one of many of the tools that you will learn, one of many of the skills that we will teach you. But this is the type of course that the analogy of being, the metaphor of being a marathon, not a sprint, is very true. And in this case, through the very first few weeks of your studying, you will be making very incremental progress towards your ultimate score. And then at the very end, you'll notice a giant bump up. So what we encourage you here is stick with the program. It works. For those that stick with it, they see a dramatic increase in score. For those that freelance again, will find themselves back in the place where they began. So we encourage you, follow our methods, listen to what we're doing here. I promise you it works. All right? So let's get into what is in your student account and what is the Marino Bar Review Retaker course. Okay? In this introduction, I'm going to discuss the program's approach, and I'll walk you through your introductory materials, including your student checklist, which is going to outline the several study phases which you're going to complete over the next few weeks and months. As you know, this is an online program, but you will have access to your Marino Bar Review tutor either online or in person, depending upon your preferences and location. And don't forget, you have the entire Marino Bar Review team at your disposal, so please never hesitate to reach out no matter how small or large of a question you think you have. Our team here at Marino brings several decades of experience training students to pass the bar exam, so please use us. The components of the UBE Retaker course incorporates the strategies and test-taking methodologies that have helped thousands of students pass the bar exam. I will say anecdotally, growing up, having my father and grandfather work in the bar review space, I've come across thousands of attorneys myself who owe their careers to our courses, to our methods. So I'm hoping, if you stick with our program, that we'll be adding you to that list as well. Now, the goal of our UBE Retaker course is simple: train you to pass the bar exam. Okay? Like I said, in your first-time bar review, you spend most of your time accumulating information through lectures and comprehensive outlines. That's reviewing the law. Furthermore, in your excuse me, now your focus is not going to be on accumulating information, but on executing on that information through exam performance training and exercises that are going to help you score points. Since in your first bar review course you already learned those substantive subjects, in this course we're not going to teach you those substantive subjects, but instead on improving your exam performance by teaching you not subjects, but the rules within each subject that are most likely to appear on the bar exam. Keep in mind that the bar exam does not test subject areas. It tests specific rules. So for example, on the MBE, each question will raise a specific issue or concept, and then each of the alternative answers are going to raise a rule that addresses that issue or will try and distract you with an unrelated rule. Okay? An essay is going to have 4 to 5 rules per essay. The essays are not testing subject areas. You're not going to get a torts essay. They're going to test you on specific torts rules. That means that a total of about 24 to 25 rules are going to be tested on the MEE. And with about 15 potential subject areas, this means about 2 rules per subject area are going to appear on the essay portion of the exam. So if you think about that just for a second, thousands of rules, all that law is going to boil down to 24 to 25 rules that are tested. Though, as you will see, some subject areas, such as federal civil procedure, are more heavily tested than others and are much more likely to appear on the MEE. In your account, and you will get to this along the way, we do include a list of the frequency chart of the more frequently tested rules, not just how much they're tested, but specifically when they were tested and how they were tested. And again, that is the goal of our program, to teach you the law in the context of the bar exam, not just in the context of the law. You went to law school for 3 years, you tried to do it then, and maybe you did, maybe law school sometimes goes off the rails, but we're going to condense that for you. And again, we're not reviewing the law, we're going to teach you rules, okay? And for this reason, it's important that you learn what a rule is, and you not only learn what that rule is, but you learn what to do with it. So thus, in this course, you're going to study the material not by studying entire subject areas, but by learning and memorizing specific rules, which you'll revisit over and over and over again throughout the program. Unlike your first course, assuming you took a first course where you would have studied the subject areas in sequence, in a sequential order, such as torts, then contracts, then evidence, in this program, you're going to study the rules in several different subject areas each week, jumping from one subject area to another to help you memorize and recall the rules. So let's get into the program components themselves. The focus of the Marino UBE Retaker course is memory and exam performance. All right, so for the memory side, we give you the Marino Memory Boosters. These are going to be your primary materials to study from and use to memorize the rules tested on the exam. The boosters are going to focus on exactly what's tested on the exam and are going to be this primary document. However, while we want you to focus on these materials we give you, there may be some subjects that you need more help with. Maybe some subjects that you truly just did not get in law school, that you did not get in your first time course, and I'm sure many of you are feeling like it's all the law, but I assure you, you know more than you think you do. But there are plenty of outside sources, including maybe even your books from the last time, if you feel you need a broader understanding of a law. Though I encourage you, for the most part, stick to the materials we have. The boosters themselves come from my father's personal study notes. We've created these based upon what he would teach to his class throughout his several decades teaching, both at a law school and in bar prep. So that's the memorization component. Now for the exam performance component, we're going to give you some workshops. So to improve your exam performance, you're going to watch workshops on the MBE, the MEE, and the MPT. These workshops, as well as the memory boosters, are incorporated into your study checklist, so that in each phase, you will review and practice the rules and skills you learned in the previous phases. By practicing essays and MBE questions, as well as the MPT, you're going to improve your recall and application of the rules that you learned and memorized from those boosters. Now let's talk about each of the workshops that you're going to complete along the way. First, and I think in a lot of ways most importantly to our course, the SAE and MBE workshops will improve those performance on the MBE portion of the exam. Now, the substantive analytical exercise, the SAE, is very important to our program. It is the core to our MBE component. This is a skill-building exercise that you'll improve your MBE score more than anything else you will do or have done, especially in this program. Especially if you are struggling with your MBE score, we encourage you to practice the SAE method throughout the program as indicated on your study checklist. While the SAE workshop is going to teach you how to analyze and answer an MBE question, it's the MBE workshop that was going to teach you how to score points and take the MBE exam. Now, the MBE workshop has 3 instructional lectures and 7 practice tests. During these lectures, you're going to learn the method for taking the MBE that'll help you manage your time and increase your score. You're going to practice these methods from the very beginning of the program with practice tests and questions. Please note that the 7 practice tests also have video reviews, which will go over a selection of problems from the test. I strongly encourage you to watch those practice tests, even if you may even see the written answers. Within those videos, you're going to learn and see how rules are actually tested on the MBE itself from questions. I say this a lot, but remember, the bar examiners themselves, these are not Hollywood writers. They're not writing tremendous prose. They use the same concepts over and over again. And there's only so many ways you can test a rule. So I really encourage you, don't just watch the workshops about how to take them. Watch those practice reviews of the tests. And through the practice tests and reviews, you're going to continue to memorize those rules tested with repetition. For the essay portion, you're going to get the MEE workshop, the multi-state essay exam workshop. In that workshop, you're going to learn how to get points when you know the rule, and more importantly, how to get points when you don't know the rule. In other words, we're going to teach you how to guess so that you can maximize the points earned on each essay. As you're going to learn in that workshop, every point, every half point or third of a point counts. And even if you don't state the rule correctly, you can still earn points with your analysis by guessing what the rule is. And you're also then going to have the opportunity to practice your essay writing with several practice essays, which will be graded both by our Merino graders with comments, as well as your tutor. So you can get that individual feedback that you'll need to make sure that your writing is on point with our goals and our methods for essay writing. And then lastly, there's the MPT, the Multi-State Performance Test workshop. In the MPT workshop, you're going to learn how to manage your time and approach the MPT to score the maximum amount of points. You'll also practice writing several MPTs throughout the course. They're going to help you develop an organizational and time management skills that you're going to need to pass this portion of the exam. So as you can see, the Merino UBE Retaker course is method-oriented, and it's important that you follow the study checklist provided to you. This is an approach that's been developed specifically for students who did not pass the bar on their first attempt, with the substantive materials provided to them by focusing now on exam performance and memorization. By following this program, you will increase your score on the bar exam. So let's get into the introductory documents that are in your student account. In your account, you're going to find 2 documents, which you should review very closely. The first is the Introduction to the Merino UBE Retaker course, and the second is your study checklist. The Introduction to the Retaker course summarizes the program components and its structure, and also contains the contact information for Emily Merino, who, as a reminder, you should contact for your tutor assignment if you've not already. I want to remind you that our tutors are not like the tutors you may have received in high school if you were having problems with algebra or geometry. These are personal bar instructors, designed not only to help you learn the law, but more importantly, help guide you throughout the process, help set your schedule, make sure you're learning the methods we're teaching you in these workshops, and keep track of both your skills and at times your sanity. Thus, many students actually choose to add more than the hours you're given to start the course. If you'd like to add more hours, simply contact our office, contact Emily Merino, and it's pretty simple. But first, let's get to your study checklist, which you're going to find in your account under the Introduction to Retaker Program document. The study checklist is a 6-phase program that's designed to be flexible based upon your individual needs and your time commitments. While we encourage you to take as much time off as possible, stop working if you can to study for the exam, we don't presume that you'll be able to. You have a life. And the six-phase program can be made to accommodate both the full-time student as well as a part-time student. It's important that before you begin, you review the schedule in your account and discuss with your tutor the best approach to make sure you complete all 6 phases by the beginning of July for the July exam or the beginning of February for the February exam. After you've completed all 6 phases of the study checklist, you're going to take a full-length practice bar exam, and then you're going to move on to the final 12-day study schedule, which will be provided as a later date in the course so as you don't peak and ruin it now. As I mentioned earlier, this is a marathon up until that final study schedule. That final study schedule is the sprint. So you may make slight progress throughout it, but trust me, those methods, the reinforcement, the rules you're learning are all there. At the very end, you're going to tie it all together, and your score is going to jump up from there. It's thus important you schedule each phase in a way that works for you to make sure you finish in time to complete that final study schedule before the bar exam. Each phase consists of about 40 hours of studying and exam performance exercises and workshops. Thus, if you're studying full-time, you can organize your schedule into, say, 8 full-hour days, 5 full 8-hour days with the weekends off to do what you want. Or if you're studying part-time, you can schedule some of those night hours over the night and then work full-time on the weekends. It's totally up to you. But make sure you create a schedule that works for you before you begin studying so you can stick to the program throughout the next several weeks or months, depending upon when you start. And your tutor can and should and will help you with this. So be sure to review your schedule with your tutor before you start to make sure you're on the same page and that your tutor understands your studying needs and individual goals. Remember, not everybody studies the same, so plan ahead for all of that. Let's get into that study checklist and the phases of it, okay? Within each study checklist, you're going to get the phase summary, okay? That's going to tell you what instructional videos to watch. The second thing you'll see in there is substantive study, and that's going to tell you which memory boosters are you supposed to review and which boot camp lectures you should watch. Then the next thing will be in there is the SAE assignment, during which you're going to practice that SAE method that you learn in the SAE workshop. The fourth thing you'll see in your study checklist is the MBE timed practice assignments, in which you're going to practice the methods that you learn in the MBE workshop, but timed. And then you're going to get the essay practice, where you're going to practice writing essays using those same skills you learn in the MEE workshop. Generally, for the most part, you're going to want to complete the lectures, if there are lectures, in the phase summary before moving on to the remainder of the study checklist. After you complete the phase summary, you can order your substantive study and exam performance exercises any way you want. Whatever way that works best for you. It doesn't matter, since we don't teach you sequentially like you may have in your first time. As far as the study checklist, under the substantive study section, you're going to note that approximate times are provided for reviewing the memory boosters. What we want to stress, and what I really want to stress, is don't worry if you don't get through the entire booster in the time allotted. You will return to that booster over and over again during the course of during our course, and during the workshops, you'll once again review those rules that you've learned. You'll also note that during the substantive study, you're assigned to watch boot camp lectures for the MBE subjects and some of the MEE subjects. These are short lectures designed to review the rules that you learned by going over the corresponding memory boosters. Certainly, if you are absolutely crunched for time, the lectures are the first thing to go, as you'll have the boosters ahead of you, but it's a good way to get feedback and explanation on not just what the rules are and spoken in a different way than it's written, but also to give some context to how and examples to how these types of questions may appear on the exam. Next, you're going to see the SAE assignments, the Substantive Analytical Exercise assignments. You're going to use questions from your SAE question bank in your student account and the SAE form, which is provided you under the forms section in your account. Keep in mind that this is a skill-building exercise during which you're going to break down and analyze MBE question. It sounds crazy to say this, but you should do no more than 2 questions per hour, when completing SAE assignments. While you may not be familiar with what the SAE is now, when you get into it, you'll understand why you should only do about 2 per hour, and you should take your time. Again, this is not a quantity thing. That is when you get to the MBE. This is quality over quantity, the quality of your studying over the quantity of the questions you do. Below the SAE exercises, you're going to see MBE time practice. Here's where you're actually going to practice taking the MBE quest test. You'll utilize those time management skills and strategies taught to you in the MBE workshop. Each session is 45 minutes long, during which you should complete 25 questions with the goal to get at least 15 correct. At the end of a session, you're going to take 30 minutes to review the questions you just completed, making sure you understand not only why you got a particular question wrong, but also why you got a question correct. Finally, beginning with phase 2, you're going to start seeing essay practice in your study checklist. Here, you're going to practice the skills that you learn in the MEE workshop by outlining and writing practice essays. Remember that your goal is to be able to complete an essay in 30 minutes and to maximize your score even when you do not know the correct rules. I want to stress to you now, as will be stressed throughout, in your practice, it's very important that you try your hardest even when you're not certain of the rule. Give it your best shot. It'll help you reinforce. Remember, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So do your best even when writing, even early in the course, even when you do not know the rule 100%, still give it your best. Don't leave anything blank. Especially, do not leave anything blank on the exam. This is not like the SAT. You will get scored on everything, whether you answer it or not. In addition to these exercises in substantive study, you will complete 3 MPTs and take 25 question practice tests in each of the 7 MBE subjects. I want you to be sure to review your MPTs and practice tests closely and to watch those lecture reviews for each practice test on the MBE. That's your course. So, in conclusion, throughout the program, you're going to build on your memory through practice and repetition. Okay? Remember, you're going to build on your memory through practice and repetition. As you can see in each phase, you're going to review several subjects. You're going to practice multiple MBE questions and practice a bunch of essays. You'll switch from one subject to the next with a focus on the rules, not the subject area itself, which is exactly what you're going to need to do on the exam in order to pass. It's thus critically important to our course that you stick to the checklist and that you build on your memory and exam performance by following the workshops and studying off the boosters. I want to wish you good luck. I want to remind you that the entire Marino team is here for you if you have any questions. And once again, good luck. And I promise you, if you stick to our methods, your score will increase. Thank you.